Have you ever felt held back even though you knew you were capable of more? Maybe you've been carrying inherited beliefs, limiting beliefs, and someone else's emotions or spiritual baggage. Family conditioning, people pleasing, religious pressures, spiritual manipulation, and fear of disapproval can quietly replace your own intuition. Hi, I'm Dr. Jo Messenger. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'll be sharing how I went from being a confident, self-employed chiropractor, helping 225 patients each week, to losing my career, my direction, my health, my wealth, and confidence after absorbing a spiritual teacher's rigid belief that personal will is merely ego. And I'll do my best to make it relatable to you, because if you know me at all, you know that I've got better things to do than to just air dirty laundry in public for no good reason. In this video, you'll learn how to identify borrowed beliefs, uncover the core belief holding them together, how to rebuild your own internal authority, and how to apply the 5 daily choices of a high vibrational life. Truth over denial, courage over fear, responsibility over blame, gratitude over resentment, and contribution over ego. Because if you've ever felt back, you may very well have been carrying someone else's baggage, someone else's beliefs, someone else's fears, someone else's definition of what is safe, what is spiritual, what is acceptable or possible for you. And because you carried those beliefs for a long time, you may have even mistaken them for your own. So today, let's cover how to recognize those borrowed beliefs, uncover the foundation belief holding them together, and begin rebuilding your life from your own truth. Because you cannot live your authentic purpose while you're carrying someone else's luggage. So first up, how do borrowed beliefs enter your life in the first place? Most beliefs don't arrive wearing a name tag that says, "Hello, I belong to your mother," or "I came from your father," or "I was installed by your religion, your relationship, your ex, your workplace, or your spiritual group." They usually just arrive as rules. Rules such as, don't draw attention to yourself. Wanting success is selfish. Money is unspiritual. Other people's needs should come first. That's a ripper for women. Good people never say no. Being visible is showing off. Questioning authority means you lack faith. Surrender means doing nothing. Ambition is ego. And here's a good one. Keeping the peace matters more than telling the truth. You may hear beliefs like these repeatedly as a child, in a relationship, in a marriage, inside a workplace, from a spiritual teacher, and even through an entire culture. Eventually, repetition makes them feel familiar, and familiar is often mistaken for it being the truth. So next up, how can you recognize a belief that may not be yours? One clue is that the belief feels strangely illogical or internally contradictory. Part of you thinks this makes no sense. Yet another part says you still have to obey it. For example, some people know that they're skilled, yet they feel guilty about charging properly for their work. You may know a relationship is unhealthy, yet feel responsible for keeping the other person happy. You may know that you should speak, that you should create or teach, yet hear an internal warning saying, "Who do you think you are?" That conflict is worth investigating. Whatever that conflict is for you, it's worth investigating. It does not automatically prove the belief came from someone else. Sometimes these beliefs form through our own painful experiences. But when a belief feels alien to your values, when it contradicts the evidence of your life or sounds suspiciously like someone else's voice, it may be borrowed conditioning. So ask, whose voice does that sound like? Who first taught me that? And here's a good one. Who benefited when I believed it? What has obeying it cost me? And who might I become now without this belief? Who might you become now without those beliefs? The backstory. At 25, I was confident. I was self-employed as a chiropractor, a healer, and an educator. I was helping, as I said, 225 patients a week, every week, week after week, helping people to get well and stay well. I was serving my community, and especially families in the community, children and parents. I was educating people, and I was educating my colleagues by teaching sacro-occipital technique and craniopathy on weekends. I had built a professional life through skill, through study, through discipline and consistent results, all the while co-raising 3 stepdaughters, 3 young girls. I knew how to make decisions. I knew how to organize my time. I knew how to take action, and I knew how to work. Then I came under the influence of a spiritual teacher who repeatedly insisted that the correct path was thy will, not my will. Spirit's will, not my will. Personal will was labeled as ego. Questioning was treated as a lack of faith. Taking decisive action could be judged as being controlling. And wanting a particular outcome could be dismissed as unspiritual. Having money was seen as greedy. Having a university education was seen as less than being born with psychic gifts. And this spiritual teacher was not average. She was an old school, church-based trance medium who would leave her body and channel the likes of Asclepius and the likes of the Master Chiron. She and her spiritual team were not lightweights. No question, they were influencers. Now, surrender can be profound and a healthy spiritual principle. There are times when we do need to release control, to listen deeply, and to accept that life may be redirecting us. But surrender without discernment can become passivity. Faith without questions can become obedience or even subservience. And spirituality without personal responsibility can become a very elegant way of abandoning yourself. Any which way, I absorbed those beliefs. I was often shamed into taking on those beliefs. I progressively stopped following the decisive, practical, intelligent part of myself that had already built a successful life, and I gave increasing authority to somebody else's interpretation of spirituality. I promoted that spiritual teachers work nationally and internationally. I even built a school and trained other teachers. I promoted that spiritual teacher's work instead of my own. I even used my money, my database, my goodwill and notoriety in the community to promote the spiritual teacher's work instead of my own. I even used my money to bail that spiritual teacher out of their personal debt. Apparently having money was seen as greedy, but that didn't translate into not maxing out your credit cards, buying clothes or whatever else that she wanted. But anyway, over time, I lost nearly everything that I had worked to build. My direction, my confidence, my professional momentum, my health, my wealth, my trust in my own judgment. I'd gone from serving hundreds of people each week to standing in the rubble of my beliefs that had never truly fitted me. I was still teaching many people a week, but under her umbrella rather than the principles that I felt were true for me. And one of the rules in Robert Greene's Laws of Power book is something like, don't outshine your master, or something like that. Even though it wasn't promoting my work, I was good at it. I was good at teaching. I was good at teaching the other teachers, running the school. I was good at setting up systems. I was good at running the events. I was good at writing the teaching manuals. I threw myself into it. Over time, the spiritual teacher actively worked to get rid of me because she felt that I was outshining her, and she succeeded at getting rid of me. She didn't want to share the spotlight with anyone, especially someone who had bankrolled, organised and promoted her project. So she enrolled a bunch of flying monkeys and made it so uncomfortable that it was impossible for me to stay. The flying monkeys systematically removed all evidence of me from the legal associations and websites, the teaching manuals, everything that I had worked to set up. And needless to say, the school, the association, the programs are all now basically defunct. There was no one to replace everything that I had been doing and providing. And the spiritual teacher passed away a while after that. So it was seemingly all for nothing. And then I had to start again. I had to rebuild my career, rebuild my health, rebuild my wealth, rebuild my confidence, and most importantly, rebuild my relationship with my own mind, my own heart, my intuition, and my innate will. Are you familiar with the law of threes? Lessons come in threes, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Child, woman, crone. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Going, going, gone. We get 3 levels of the soul lessons that we sign up for before we were born. So it's probably no surprise that I came face to face with a similar situation later on. Similar in that a jealous, toxic woman, a self-proclaimed spiritual teacher this time, also took offence in me shining. Took offence to my education, to my self-sufficiency, my spiritual ranking, and my appearance. Took offence to me even existing. So each lesson in your soul journey gets tougher. Just like high school maths is harder than primary school maths. This time the spiritual teacher didn't just want to get rid of me, she really wanted to get rid of me. She wanted to end me. She even had voodoo dolls of me to get rid of me. And had her flying monkeys doing, can you get this? Around the clock death magic on me to get rid of me. It's like a Hollywood blockbuster. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It's the techniques and the procedures I learned from Asclepius and Chiron in my previous round of breaking the laws of power and outshining someone who saw herself as above the rest, and most definitely wanted to be seen as above me. It's the techniques and procedures I learned from Asclepius and Chiron that helped me to recover from this new round of reputation destruction, of false accusations, and next level, get rid of me. And yet, here I am. And curiously, just as the previously false accuser passed away when she had no one to take my place, this current false accuser is reputed to be near the end of her life. The problem was not spirituality. The problem was me surrendering discernment. The problem was accepting a rigid either-or belief. Either you follow spirit or you follow your will. Either you're humble or you're ambition. Either you are loving or you have boundaries. Either you surrender or you take action. And that is false polarity. Because healthy spirituality doesn't require you to become helpless. Your intuition can guide you. It can guide the direction. That's what it's for. Your intelligence can assess the risks. That's what it's for. Your emotions can reveal what matters, and you can still take the necessary action. You need all of them. You do not need to prove your spirituality by switching off your brain. And here's the thing. One affirmation may not change your patterns. Many people discover a limiting belief and immediately say something like, I release that. They repeat a positive affirmation for a few days and then wonder why nothing much has changed. And this is because beliefs often grow like trees. The visible part is only the leaf. Underneath the leaf is a branch. Underneath the branch is a trunk. Beneath the tree is the whole root system. Look at someone who keeps postponing their dream. The visible behavior is procrastination, sometimes disguised as perfectionism. The first belief may be something like, I'm not ready. Underneath, it may be, I need more approval. Underneath that, maybe it's something like, if people criticize me, I won't cope. Underneath that, maybe rejection means I'm unsafe. And beneath all of these, maybe the foundation belief, I am only safe when I stay small. Repeating I'm successful will not necessarily resolve a nervous system organized around playing small for safety. You have to find the root, resolve the root, and then the branches of the limiting belief can begin to lose their support. And here's a practical process that you can use to unravel whatever's been going on for you. Take one area where you feel you've been held back. Maybe it's health, money, relationships, career, visibility, creativity, spiritual connection, or whatever else. Pick one. Write down the behavior that you keep repeating. For example, I keep avoiding making videos, whatever it is for you. Then ask why. Maybe it's, I'm afraid people will judge me. For me, I was previously afraid that people would judge me for doing better than them, for outshining them. So classic tall poppy syndrome, right? But back to you, back to the process and your process and your answers. Why does their judgment matter? Because I might look foolish or whatever. What's your answer? What would looking foolish mean about you? That I'm not credible? What does it mean? And if you weren't credible, what would that mean? That you're not worthy of being heard? There's the deeper belief. Continue asking until you uncover the belief that carries the strongest emotional charge. And you'll know you're getting close to this root when the answer feels simple, personal, and probably painful. Common foundation beliefs include: I'm not safe, I'm not worthy, I don't belong, my needs don't matter, I'm responsible for everyone, I must be perfect in order to be loved, if I succeed, I'll be rejected, if I speak, I'll be punished. I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting the great Louise Hay after her agency published my first book, Being One Piece. Her deduction was that for most people, I am not worthy was a really common foundation belief. Anyway, once you identify the root belief for you, don't shame yourself for having it. Understand where it came from. Thank that part of you that used it to survive. Again, don't shame yourself. It defeats the purpose. Thank that part of you that used that belief in order to survive. And then ask, is this belief still true now? What evidence disproves this belief? What is a more truthful, mature, and empowering belief? And what action would demonstrate that new belief in my life today? The truth is, replacement requires behavior. You don't fully replace a belief by thinking differently. You don't fully replace a belief by thinking differently just once. You replace it by creating new evidence. A bit like if somebody apologizes, they actually need to change their behavior that they're actually apologizing for in the first place, else everything just gets perpetuated. If your old belief is something like, my voice doesn't matter, your new behavior could be recording a video. If your old belief is, boundaries make me selfish, your new behavior could be something like saying, no, that doesn't work for me. If your old belief is wanting success is egotistical, your new behavior may be setting a meaningful goal and pursuing it with integrity. If your old belief is, I need permission, your new behavior may be make one appropriate decision without needing a committee to approve it. New beliefs become trustworthy when your life supplies evidence for them. And this is where my 5 daily choices become very practical. You know I'm practical, right? What's the point of knowledge if you don't do anything with it? A high vibrational life is not pretending to be positive. It is repeatedly choosing alignment. And choice 1 is truth over denial. Tell the truth about the belief. Don't call fear intuition. Don't call procrastination divine timing. Don't call people-pleasing kindness. Don't call self-abandonment surrender. Name what is actually happening. Put your big pants on. Truth clears the fog. Choice 2 is courage over fear. Once you recognize the borrowed belief, take one action that contradicts it. Not a reckless action, a courageous one. Send in the application. Make the appointment. Publish the post. Set the boundary. Invite the person for coffee, for dinner, or a trip to Egypt, or whatever. Ask the question. Courage teaches the nerve system that a new response is possible. Choice 3 is responsibility over blame. You can acknowledge that another person influenced you without making them responsible for the rest of your life. I had to recognize that I accepted those spiritual beliefs and followed them, and I continued to surrender my judgment. And that was painful to admit. But accepting responsibility means I could also choose differently. Blame says they ruined me. Responsibility says I understand what happened and I'm rebuilding now. And let's not make the same mistakes again. Choice 4 is gratitude over resentment. I'm not especially grateful for everything I lost, but I am very grateful for what I learned. And I'm grateful for some of the things I lost because clearly I dodged a few bullets and had a few lucky escapes. Rejection is protection. I now understand the difference between spiritual wisdom and spiritual bypassing. I now understand the difference between intuition and obedience, between surrender and self-erasure, between humility and making yourself powerless. Gratitude extracts the wisdom without requiring you to approve of the harm. Choice 5 is contribution over ego. Your healed life is not only about you. When you reclaim your voice, your skills, your purpose, and whatever else that you need to reclaim, other people benefit too. Your experience becomes wisdom. Your wisdom becomes teaching. Your teaching may prevent somebody else from giving away decades of their life. And your teaching may help someone to get out of the quicksand faster, easier, more directly. Contribution does not mean becoming a doormat. It means using what you've learned in service without abandoning yourself in the process. So, what is the area of your life where you feel most held back? What is the repeated behavior keeping you there? Be honest with yourself. This is nobody else's business. This is between you and you. What is the belief underneath that behavior? What is the person, the group, or the experience that may have taught you that belief? What is the action that you will take to demonstrate now your new belief? What is that new belief? What are you going to replace it with? Write down whatever it is for you. I release the belief that whatever, and now I choose to believe and practice whatever else. Keep the new statement realistic, not I'm instantly fearless and successful. Try something like I'm safe to take a visible step, or I can honour spiritual guidance without abandoning my discernment. Or my will, my wisdom, my heart, and my intuition can all work together. Make it believable and relevant to you, because believable change is sustainable change. You've got better things to do than to be in the same place or worse in 3 months, 5 months, 10 years' time. Your will is not your enemy. Your ego needs training, but your will is not your enemy. Your ability to choose, to decide, to organize, to persist and take action is part of your innate human equipment. Use it ethically, use it intelligently, use it in service of the truth. Just use it. You are not given a mind so someone else could do all your thinking. You are not given your intuition so someone else could continually override it. And you are not given a life so that you could spend it carrying beliefs that belong to somebody else. If you felt held back, stop assuming you need more motivation. You may need less baggage. Find the belief that doesn't fit, question it, trace it, keep digging until you reach the foundation, and resolve that root. Replace it with the truth. Then create new evidence through your action, through your new identity. Because when your foundational belief collapses, the justifications, the fears, the behaviours that supported it often collapse along with it. You don't need to destroy or hide or feel ashamed of your past. You need to stop letting it decide your present and your future. Put down all the old stories. Put down the anger, the resentment, the blame, and reclaim your discernment. Rebuild your self-trust and move forward as the person that you genuinely prefer to be. Move forward as the person that your future self needs you to be now.